Listen, I'm the light-skinned man with the ashy hands. It's just that Dr. Love is the one who comes up with the plan.
How's everyone doing today? You know, another great day, beautiful day here in Michigan. Actually, a very beautiful day today. And of course, it was very beautiful down in Puerto Rico for WWE, not WrestleMania Backlash, just regular Backlash. That's what I like to hear.
Yep.
But before we go into it, of course, we've got CBM with double. Yeah. Always. And yes, you're right back. Talk to me. Because no one here is a dummy. But so anyways, of course, down in Puerto Rico this past weekend was a Backlash. Beautiful Puerto Rico. And first time in years they have, had a show there. And SmackDown the night before was the first time I even had SmackDown. And let me tell you, even before we started into it, this crowd is a crowd you wish you could just bottle up and then always have this. This is it's one of the best crowds I've ever seen at a show at a venue that's very small. They packed that venue up, man. They absolutely did. And do have another chat here we got Miles Connor. Cool belts, man. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, shout out to Miles. I don't think we've seen that name before, so you stopping by to check us out. Hey, shout out to you.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking about Backlash. We're going to talk about the World Title Tournament. We're going to anything wrestling related, or you want to yes, that's good too.
But listen, if you give us a we'll right back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love my belts. For years, I used to make them. I still make them, actually. And then I have some replicas. But they got too expensive, so I basically started making them. Let's see, homemade. That's a replica over there, and several more. But that'll be for another time. And we got another one here from Miles, big Brock fan. I actually am a fan of Brock Lesnar, especially when he first debuted in 2002. And, yeah, I love them then. You couldn't beat them. You couldn't beat the next big thing at that time. Wasn't the biggest fan of when he came back in that middle section in 14 Sauce, I think is when he came back.
I want to say it was like 2011, 12-ish when he first came back.
Yeah, when he first came. You're right. But I love Cowboy Brock. I'm all about it. So, but yeah, thank you. And like I said, we're here to talk. We're here to talk to me. But as we were talking about, obviously Backlash, again, for a show that was not a typical Backlash, it was very entertaining. I know it was a very entertaining show, and I can't stop reiterating the fact of how good this crowd was. I mean, this crowd was hot. They were just hot the whole time. But it was like, where has this been my whole life? And none other when the opening match of the night, where you have Bianca Belair defend her Raw Women's title against Io Sky. Now, I've liked Io Sky, when she was Io Shirai, she was NXT Women's Champion, and her stuff over in Japan. But so far on the main roster, it's lukewarm at best. She's been in a heel faction with, Damage Control, that kind of stuff. And nothing could surprise me more of how this crowd treated her. They lost their collective shit. I mean, they were behind her 110%. And Bianca, it was like Cena. I mean, we've already been talking about it over the past few months about her in Super Cena mode. She is now. It's now that tipping point. Now, I know this is also Puerto Rico. It's going to be a little bit different, but they were not having it. They were still cheering for some moves here and there, but no, they wanted Io Sky to win this match. And before we get into that match more, we do have Papa Mafia with,
Yeah. Hey, Papa Mafia, you see how, slowly but surely we get it together. So just to let you people, just let the good wrestling boys and girls out there know, the blue is for our Twitter. Obviously you probably watch it to your phone, so I don't know how you're gonna be able to watch, screen capture this to your phone. But I didn't think that far ahead. I was just doing stuff. So the blue is for Twitter. If you feel free to go on there, give a shout out to Dr. Love and I, mainly Dr. Love. One thing we love is to talk wrestling, and he's all about that. And then also the brown over here, if you're wondering, with this little camera thingy right here, that is the Instagram where we plan on posting stuff every day like Wrestler of the Day, wrestler birthdays. And speaking of wrestler birthdays, we just had happy birthday to as far as Bastion Booger, rest in peace. And guess whose birthday it was? Guess whose birthday was yesterday?
Whose was?
Io Sky.
Well, look at that. Oh my gosh.
And guess what she got for her birthday? Another Nacho Bianca's belt.
Wah, wah.
So periodically, we'll be going back and forth as, just to remind folks who pop in and out as far as, with the socials not. So once again, feel free to talk to us on there. If you like what we're talking about, cool. If you don't like what we're talking about, feel free to yell at us on there. We'll deal with it.
Yeah, there you go. But, getting back to the match itself, this is one of those things where we finally got to see Io Sky wrestle in front of a crowd and just showcase her talents that I know and other people know. And it really was a really good match. The crowd being into it so much also just helps the wrestlers, and I don't know. It was so good. And at one point, more than one point, I really thought Io was going to win. Because remember, last week, I thought she was going to win. I did that as a bold pick. Thought she was going to win. But I was sitting there cheering like, let's go. Let's go. But we also, let's see, we have another chat here. We got one from Avery. Yeah. That's what I got there. Looks like that's the only chat I see here from Avery. That's the only chat I see here.
Yeah, that's the only chat I see for some reason too. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I don't see the other chats, but maybe
no other chat at all. I just see another post from Papa Mafia. That's about it. Yeah. It seems like Papa Mafia. It might be a glitch in Papa Mafia's phone or whatnot. I can't really see nothing.
We're glitching out. But so going back with this match, I mean, there were some really good high-flying moves, some very unique moves again from Io Sky. And then, even Bianca had some good moves there until there wasn't. Yeah. So We all watched it. It was a very scary moment for Io Sky. Bianca has been with her character. She has this whole I'm I'm so strong. I can do all these moves. I'm one armed, one hand, whatever. I'm sorry, but if you were already losing her, you shouldn't have been doing that because she almost dropped the Io Sky right on her head. I mean,
Yep.
it was a scary moment, and it could have been devastating to see. But thankfully, she was okay. Match continued. And damage control, I had a feeling was going to come out, and they did, and it was kind of funny because they just did everything possible. But what most likely is we're going to be pushing towards the Io Sky fight. Like I didn't need you guys, and then it's gonna like a breakup of some sorts. I mean, that's kind of how it seems it's going to be going. But
Yeah.
I still was just very happy with the match. I was just happy seeing Io be able to showcase some of her moves. I mean, she went up there with a moonsault off the top rope onto the outside. She very unique move combinations, and it was like I said, I would have liked to see her win, but it was a long shot for her to actually win. But it was something good to see an actual possibility of her because she was whooping her all over that ring. I mean, and the fans were all about it. They were like so so I mean with all that kind of on there, I honestly if I had to say a score,
Oh.
I'm gonna give that rating a 4. A 4 headlocks from that one because
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware of what he's talking about, we have a little system here. We have, our scale goes to like 1 to 5 or 0 to 5, if you will. 5 headlocks being excellent. 4 being, solid. These people, they put on a nice, good match. 4, yeah, these guys showed up, they did their job. It is what it is. 2 is like, eh. And then a 1 star, yeah, it's just booty cheeks. And then if it's worse than that, then we're talking Shockmaster level. But if it's more than 5, it becomes man meat worthy. Okay.
yes.
It doesn't matter if it's men, women, or animals wrestling. Listen, 2 women. We've already had some women give man meat worthy performances. Okay, so just to let y'all know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so, Doc, what rating are we giving it?
Well, I'm giving it a 4 headlock out of 5 for the match, but it looks like Andre has a 5-star for Bayley.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a nice view there. It's funny because everyone was all like, when she came out, was like, "Oh, hello, how you doing? How you doing?" But it was cool. She did have Sky cut into the back of her hair, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think anybody saw that, Bayley."
Nobody's paying attention to that.
Nobody was paying attention, so it's like, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's I'd say accurate right there.
Let's say shout out to Mr. Douglas, gracing us with his presence. Shout out to those guys over there in Academy Sports. Hopefully, I'm hoping that Mr. Douglas is over there. Hopefully, he's finally recuperated from the Lions draft. Whew, man, he was going through it. So hopefully, buddy, you over there, you fully recovered. You back to 100%. I thought those guys over at Allen Park almost took you out there, buddy. And we gotta have you back on. We definitely gotta have you back on these shows. I was thinking like, it'd be cool to like, if you had, a Tuesday here, Tuesday there, maybe like, I don't know, help us, do some reaction shows as far as WWE pay-per-views. We always love hearing what you got to say. So shout out to those boys, good old boys over there at Academy Sports Show, and they are live on Thursdays, and I think between 7:30, 8 o'clock or whatnot. So we get a chance, make sure to check those guys out.
Yep, absolutely. But so Sauce, what were your thoughts on this match, and what would you rate it?
I'll be honest with you, this match actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie. Now, mind you, being the host, pay attention what I can pay attention to and just, recap what I can recap. I thought these women actually did a pretty solid, these women did a pretty solid job. They did what they're supposed to do. As a matter of fact, as I say solid, I think we need to up. I think we need to up these headlocks a little bit. Damn it, we're gonna do 4.
All right. All right.
As far as we all know what Bianca can do. We've seen it from time on time again, and now, she's in the modern era. I believe she's the longest reigning women's champion now. So congratulations to her. She deserves it. But once again, like I said last week, this is just kind of like a training wheels test for Io Sky, just to see what she could do as a singles competitor. I mean, as far as damage control, yeah, I mean, it was fine, whatever. At this point, I think I speak for all of the young wrestling boys and young wrestling girls out there. Yeah, I think we just at this point just kind of over damage. Well, we've been over damage control for a while now, but I think everybody else is starting to catch up with us. And I know I'm speaking for a lot of people, so. But as far as the match goes, once again, these ladies, they did what they're supposed to do. They did a pretty solid job. Like I said, with the exception of that one weird spot where Bianca was just trying to overdo it. I understand, she has more of a power style. I always compare it to Cesaro, and I won't stop. And yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. Solid match. Ladies do what they're supposed to do, and yeah. And also too, I will say, the guys, whoever was, as far as planning the card, the way they planned it, this definitely was not a bad idea as far as the opener. So.
No, it's very smart, I think, because it was either going to be this match or it's going to be that triple threat United States title match, which we're going to go into. We're going to segue into that, but it was one of those two was going to have to be it, in my opinion. And I'm glad they went with this. And again, the crowd was just, they were nuts. They were nuts. And they were good all night, honestly. And we were worried, we talked a little bit that they were going to start dying down because they're too tired, but they weren't. They kept firing off on all cylinders. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool right there. But so like moving forward, we do have the second match. So we'll just segue right into it.
Yeah.
We do have the United States title triple threat match of Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, and Bronson Reed. And again, you want to talk about, big sweaty meat slapping. That was what this was. It really was. Austin Theory's like, playing the good chicken shit heel. That was cool. It was cool seeing that. Again, it reminded me a lot of like Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
He was Money in the Bank. And it was, Bronson Reed just showing off some of his skills. Moonsault, baby. Come on. He's gonna
listen.
It's awesome.
Give me a big man meaty moonsault any day of the week. It's not gonna be good on their legs and knees when 10 years from now, but for right now, do it while you got it.
I know, right? It was, oh Lord, I loved it though. It was again just every single time you'd see somebody hit someone, then you'd see Austin Theory like, I'm running in there, let me get a pin, and it's like, it's not gonna matter. But yeah, they were throwing each other around good. I mean, and this has been built up, Lashley, they didn't give him the WrestleMania moment, but he, the whole thing with Andre the Giant Battle Royal started the kind of the feud with Bronson Reed. They continued the matches and, through after WrestleMania. And, so it kind of built that up. We got these big guys and now the draft happens, right? So the draft happens and Austin Theory goes to SmackDown, and so does Lashley goes to SmackDown. So, it was like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Is it not going to be Bronson Reed? We don't know. Right? They haven't switched the belts for the women yet. They haven't even discussed it yet. So,
right.
But the match was still very cool. Good. It was very good. Big moves hitting, but and I should have called this too on Saturday. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but the ending was absolutely perfect. And our friend Avery did call this perfectly. He was the only one in our group to do it. But I knew and I actually mentioned it as an option too, like after the fact. I said that, let's see, someone's going to take a move, and then Austin Theory's going to come in and take the pin. And of course, that's what happened. So, but it's the perfect way for him to do it. He's not doing, he did try his little A-Town down move on Bronson. He got him up for a second. I was like, okay, that was pretty impressive. But then he couldn't. He had him up, and then he was like, he's down. But overall, I was entertained. I was entertained with the back and forth of that match. I was a little surprised. I honestly thought that Bobby Lashley would have walked away from that. I thought they could have continued the feud with him and Austin Theory, but that still might happen, So we'll have to wait and see. They are really setting Austin Theory up as a good fighting champion, and that's not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
But if I had to give it a rating personally, it was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as the women's match to me. So I'm going to say 3.5, 3.5 headlocks.
Okay, 3.5. And once again, as ladies and gentlemen, you see our rating scale. So once again, not man means worthy. Definitely wasn't booty cheeks worthy. Not Shockmaster, but we're going with you said 3 headlocks or 3.5?
3.5.
Okay, 3.5. So it was teetering. A little teetering.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it was still pretty good. It's always hard again for a triple threat or a fatal 4-way match because there's a lot of that kind of it's not sloppy. It's you got that choreographed move set where you have to break up the pinfalls and they got to do this. It can be chaos. Sometimes it works good. Sometimes it looks like chaos. So it's but I was all about it, and I was a fan. So, but what were your thoughts though, Sauce?
So finally caught up because that's the match I didn't see because we had somebody come over and wanted to challenge the NBA Jam, and somehow they cheated and won.
Yep, I heard about that. Yeah.
When I wasn't looking, somehow they would just put like 5 or 6 extra points up. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm still salty about it. But that's either here or there. We're not, whatever. So with that being said, I finally got to catch up with the match. And like you said, it's one of those matches where either it can go really good or it can go really, really, really south. Well, I should now tell you about it can go either really, really good or it could be really, really boring. This was like right in the middle of what it needed, right in the middle of what it needed to be. And with that being said, listen, Austin Theory, hey, the cowardly fighting champion. I should say the cowardly, arrogant fighting champion. I'm here for it. I hope he's here to stay. I hope he doesn't turn babyface at least for another 2 years.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
He's got to stay heel for sure.
But when he finally does turn face, listen, that guy's going to go to the stratosphere because he's clearly got, Austin Theory's definitely got the air factor. Once he got that cancer off of him, aka the Money in the Bank, it was only smooth sailing. But like you said, the way that he, it's the perfect type of match for him where you got big meaty men in there, and obviously he's not as meaty as those boys.
No,
and he, like you said, found ways, here and there to do what he had to do. And it all worked. It all worked correctly. Because sometimes, when I think about matches like these, I think about when Rey Mysterio somehow pulled the wind out of his derriere against Big Show, Mark Henry.
Yeah.
And you just think like, we all know what pro wrestling is. It's entertainment. And you think to yourself like, ain't no way.
No.
Ain't no way. But with that being said, but Austin Theory, they had whoever like produced this match, shout out to them.
There you go. Oh, it looks like we do have another chat here it's from Avery. Wow. Oh, that's a great.
Wow, yeah, that match was really good. Wow,
I
hey,
know.
I agree.
Well, yeah, he's talking about the match, or he's talking about like Owen Wilson impersonation. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
Avery, A Town. I know he's excited because he's called A Town. There you go. So thanks for the chat, though, Avery. We always appreciate it.
always appreciate it.
So what would you give it for a rating for this match, Sauce?
Oh, I'll give it 3. Yeah, like I said, I give it 3 headlocks out of 5. So, like I said, it did what it's supposed to. They got their point across. Whoever like how they wanted to book this match or whatnot. So once again, wasn't meaty worthy, wasn't booty cheeks worthy, but here we are.
All right, there you go, triple threat from ECW right there.
Hey, there you go.
Except with no Shane Douglas, because no one likes Shane Douglas. I don't feel like going to Target to go talk to him. That's where he was. Oh my gosh. So we'll move on right now, and let's talk. Let me talk to you. Let's talk about the other women's match.
Okay.
Let's talk about this. Yeah, Rhea Ripley, SmackDown Women's Champion, versus Zelina Vega. Very beautiful. She looked great. And, obviously this was set up for the entire idea of being in Puerto Rico. Of course it was. And it was very entertaining. Obviously on paper, she's not winning the match. Rhea Ripley. Here's the thing. If Rhea Ripley had won the belt months earlier and had a little bit longer reign, I could have seen them give Zelina the belt at Backlash. But the fact she had just won the belt a month earlier, that was really the catalyst. I knew for a fact that she wasn't going to win. Because, again, the crowd was so hot. She had a, awesome outfit, great, just everything like with the spectacle of it. And even in the match itself, she played the perfect role of, like you just brought up, Rey Mysterio, right? Where anybody smaller than anybody big like that, you have to chop them down. You have to, you can't be sitting there like, I'm going to put you in like a, vertical suplex or a side salto or something. No, you can't, not doing that. You got to chop down the knees, the leg, like
David versus Goliath.
Yep. Like and exactly. So, and there were some funny spots in the match too that I loved. And of course, the one spot, it was just ridiculous, but it was the spot with the sandal, getting the sandal. And it was, the crowd lost their minds. It was just, and what was great was like Michael Cole, he explains the whole situation like, oh, if any of you are from like Latino, the Latin heritage, what this means. You're in trouble now.
Yep.
It was just, and it was perfect. It was perfect. It was a fun match. All in all, though, we knew Rhea Ripley was going to win. So, Zelina had her time there. She still got to have her moment, and she got to have a great reaction afterwards. So. And again, she had a great outfit too. A great win. That Sauce made a great thumbnail using the outfit, using her for there. So
appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. That's why, just for the whole spectacle of it, even though it was a short match, I'm still going to give that a 3. I'm going to still give that a 3 headlock.
Yeah. You know what? And I agree, because we all know this. Listen. We all know Mommy was not about to lose that belt.
No.
At least no time soon. And this they kind of made this kind of like I call it the Rocky versus Drago or whatnot, but this was kind of more of like Apollo Creed versus Drago. So with this type match, and once again, I will say this: I was glad that it wasn't a squash.
Yes, me too.
Because I'll be honest with you, Doc. Had this not happened in Puerto Rico, this would have been like a 2-minute match.
It would have absolutely been a squash match for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. And speaking about that, just jumping real quick, just when you talk about squash matches, on Monday Night Raw yesterday, you had Rhea Ripley was on there, and she fought Dana Brooke, who hasn't literally, I haven't seen her on TV in so long, right? So she fights her. There's a little like interview promo of Dana Brooke before the match, like I'm still here, I'm still fighting. I'm like, that's good to know. Okay.
I'm
And of
like,
course
my
she,
response, my
yeah,
response would have been, "Oh, you still here? You mean you still work here?"
right. That's how I
But
felt.
go ahead, Doc.
No, that's how I felt, man. So she beats her in like, what, 2 minutes or something. And then, like, as she's beating her and using her submission hold, which is basically like what they call it, the lock jail lock or locked up lock. I don't know. It's basically like when you put someone into a clover leaf, but like don't put them in the clover leaf. Like
Yeah,
it's a very odd submission because it almost looks like you're not finishing putting them into the submission. I don't know. That's just me. But then music hits, and I'm like, who's coming out? It's Natalia. Okay.
yeah, so
She literally comes out, and
yeah,
she's not dressed to wrestle. She's like,
no,
stacked, and she gets out there, and she like stares at her, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, so you're setting up
yeah.
a feud that's going to go nowhere. Is this like because Natalia's been there for 40 years? I don't know. So
I will say the only good moment of Natalia walking out of there. Once again, another person we forgot that worked there. She wasn't doing that stupid smile when she walked out. She asked for someone serious.
my thing
So
about
that,
that, I hate that.
yeah,
Hate that.
gosh, she's a terrible heel. But anyway, she yeah, that was like the only little silver lining of the whole moment. But as far as as far as this match goes, yeah, if it wasn't for hold on. So two things. One, what up, D Town guy Jay?
What up?
And then and I agree. LWO music.
Oh
Ah,
yeah, they did a good job of doing the basic like the classic music, and then we're kind of remixing it up. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I'm definitely a fan. So
you know what else I'm a fan of? And what we want everybody else to be a fan of is to check out the Twitter and check out the Instagram. Tell your friends, hey, even tell your mama too. Tell her to tell. We all know somebody's mama's on Instagram, looking at their grandbaby photos. Tell them to come on by to go look at some pro wrestling.
well, yeah, absolutely. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your brothers, your sisters, your enemies, your arch enemies, your mistresses, your side chicks, anybody. It's all good. We like to hear them all. So
That's right. To the kid that wouldn't let me play with his Power Rangers Power Rangers in sixth grade. That's right. Check out the socials, you coward.
you coward. Oh man, but so what would you give this for a match for a rating though?
Oh, you talking about
Selena, yeah. Mm-hmm.
three. I'll give it three
Oh, the
headlocks.
three.
Like I said, it was one of those it was like one of those it was basically we thought we was gonna see Rocky versus Drago, but it ended up being Apollo Creed versus Drago. And like I said, had it not been for Puerto Rico, this would have been like a 2-minute match.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I hear you. All right. So moving forward, we do have, and it's funny is obviously I remember watching this match, but then we got to talk about, who we got to talk about. We got to talk about Seth freaking Rollins versus Omos.
yep.
So what's funny is, I saw something on social media today and I almost died laughing just because it was like not what they were talking about, because it was actually very well kind of written about giants in wrestling and how we kind of talked about that before. But at the end of it, it said, come on, guys, you all want to be Homo sapiens, and it was like Homo sapiens. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty funny. I see what you did there. But so this match, obviously, we were already kind of ragging on them before. These guys never had one interaction ever in the ring at all, and yet, we have this match just kind of randomly put on the card. And I'll tell you something. It was first, let's talk about this. Almost comes out, Seth comes out, and then almost hits him during his entrance. I mean, you got You want to talk about what we're called nuclear heat wave? That's what he was getting. He couldn't. He stopped him from doing his opening. Now you already did a good job getting the heat, the heel heat. You know.
Yep.
But before we keep going on, we do have another chat here from we got from Dylan. What's up?
What's up?
What's going on, man? Good hearing from you.
What's happening, Dylan? It seems like you might be new over here, so shout out to you. Shout out to Bills Mafia.
Yep.
Hopefully, y'all draft went as good as you hoped.
Yes.
As a Lions fan, you know, we just have to trust the process. I mean, so far, Brad Holmes hasn't really failed us too much yet. So, but hopefully you guys are hopefully the draft worked out for you guys. And I don't know if some of some of the higher ups Bills people, if you told them to stop by and check out the podcast. But if you're higher up at the Bills, can y'all please start using your running backs? That's all. Coming from a Lions fan, that's all. That's all I got to say. That's all I'm suggesting. Because I play fantasy football and I got no freaking use out of y'all running backs. Okay, this is not the show for that.
Yeah,
this is not the show for that.
We got
stick to wrestling.
So we got spicy sauce going on here, right here. Hold on. Whoa, whoa. Hold your back.
But
sauce, hey, hold your back. Hold your back.
Hey, shout out to Bills Mafia.
Oh yeah. So with this match though, I kind of going back to a little bit what we just talked about with Zelina Vega and Rhea Ripley. It was Seth is just so good at selling anything. He can work with anybody, and we talked about this months ago when Seth was on such a bad streak, right? In 2020, he wasn't. But guess what? It wasn't that he lost. It wasn't that he looked bad. He made everyone look good. He single-handedly made Cody skyrocket to the top, and then he got hurt. So just think about that for a second. If Cody Rhodes didn't get hurt, I know we're going off topic real briefly, but if Cody Rhodes didn't get hurt, what would have happened? A lot of, honestly, that would have. So that's something we'll talk about later. We can once we talk about his match. But with Seth's match, this guy he sell anything, man. He could sell ice to like an Eskimo or something. I don't know. He could sell. It's crazy. He did such a good job of doing the chop down to the Giant, or the fact that he'd hit him and did do nothing. Right when he went to go curb stomp, and he stopped him and he's like, "What? No!" It was such a fun spot because you've never seen him do that. It was never no one has ever kind of done that for the curb stomp.
Right.
But I was scared there for a second, a half second that Omos, they were going to give Omos the win. I was like, oh, please don't. Let him do something, a curb stomp off the top rope or something, and that's pretty much what ended up happened because it had to. There was no storyline logistical way for him to beat him and make it look realistic. So
it didn't. Yeah. And Doc, did you bring up the fact that Backlash's first time that these two men were in the same ring at the same time? No type of build-up, really.
Nope, no
build-up for this match.
Nope, no build-up, nothing where these guys were in the ring together. No match. So you're talking about having to choreograph a match with a guy that is still very green to a guy that's a veteran, and to make that work and look believable. Because that's always the thing. We brought up Rey Mysterio before. When he was chopping down giants, it was okay. It was different when he would fight Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle's a bigger guy, and he found a way to beat it, fight him. One of my favorite matches actually is Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio at 2002 SummerSlam. One of the opening match, one of the best matches. These guys, and guess who won? Angle, because it made sense. He was going to actually, but Rey Mysterio looked good in the match, and he could have won. It wasn't until when he was World Heavyweight Champion, scratch that, World Champion, because they had to rename it because he wasn't a heavyweight. So, and yet he was beating Khali. He was beating Big Show. He was beating Kane. And it was always by, some or he would lose in non-title matches. It was the most ridiculous thing. But fast forward, Seth Rollins looks good because he sells it well. And so I was for it. Again, just for Seth selling the storyline, doing that good with it. I'm going to give the match like just like a 2.5 star, 2.5 out, 2.5. Again, Seth really did the work. Almost as a giant in a different era. We've talked about that. If he was just in a different era, it can be completely different. It would be a completely different story. But unfortunately, it just doesn't fit in today's WWE. To me, that's my opinion. It just doesn't. Those character archetype does not work now. And it is what it is. He must have a great contract. I've talked about that before. How did he get 3 WrestleManias in a row? Just saying.
Now, Doc, imagine if the old fart was fully in charge of creative, like he says he's not. But imagine if the old fart really had a lot more control. Imagine how much higher up on the card this match would have been.
Oh my gosh, it would have been.
It definitely would have been a bathroom break match too.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have definitely been, and it probably would have been like the second to last match, probably. But alas, that was not the case. And like I said, we got what we got. There's not much else to say about it.
I like that.
We got what we got, and Seth worked with what he had, and Omos had some funny spots there. Fighting out of and pushing out of the curb stomp, just throwing them around a little bit. Seth did not get to the Shawn Michaels Hogan selling, but that was a little bit different story, I think, at that point. That was more of a, I've got an issue with you, and this is. But
so what we doing with this rating, Doc?
What's up?
So what we doing with the rating? How we doing this?
Oh, I said I have 2.5. I said 2 headlocks and a Omos chop. Omos chop.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see, go back to ratings. Let's see, page. Yeah, I'm doing this the long way. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, that's about fair. I'm sorry to do this to you, Seth. It's not quite booty cheeks, because it was Seth Rollins, but I'm gonna just go 2 headlocks. It's not booty cheeks. I can't even I'm gonna be honest with y'all, even that Seth Rollins and the Fiend's first match where they did Hell in a Cell, even though as much of an uproar there was, I still couldn't put booty cheeks on that match. So if I'm not gonna put booty cheeks on that match, I can't put booty cheeks on this match either. So all mainly due to Seth Rollins being Rollins. As I just wanted to see some over the top selling. Rollins carried this match for under 10 minutes, and that's basically what we got. And yeah, it happened. And of course, with WWE and their Emmy never award winning team. And they're eventually going. I can't wait till they put more future packages against Omos. Showing what a big threat he is. A guy who's a big threat, a devastating threat who never wins. And they're going to basically overblow this match with highlight clips. Listen, you know how they do. Yeah. They're going to have a spot. I can't wait. They're going to have a spot where he threw Seth Rollins. They're going to make it look like he threw him over Florida all the way until Montana. I can't wait. But with their editing and transitions and cuts, it's going to be ridiculous, and I'm here for it. But outside of that, yeah, 2 headlocks. That's all I got.
I gotcha. But now what? We have the real Big O on the here.
Big O.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. We have a yeah. And Omos is growing on me. Always need a go-to giant. You know what, Big O? You're the Big O. Okay, you're already the
Hey.
giant. You can be the giant. Let's go. Come on. Just saying. But maybe the O's have to stay together. Is that what it is, Sauce? Is that what it is?
Like, I would say this as far as for Omos, or as Cornette calls him, almost.
Oh yeah.
I would say for this guy, yeah, I guess in a way he is kind of needed. But he's kind of like, to me, I just see filler. That's all I see. Just somebody to fill a spot, fill a thing, do something, just to keep everything going.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I see him as.
Right.
So
I feel you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Sauce.
yeah.
But you know what else was what I'm also picking up is the fact that you definitely got to catch us on Twitter and Instagram. And as Sauce had made these nice quick links here, we're going to be putting that on somewhat on the during the shows. And like I said, talk on there. We're glad going to talk back. You want to post some cool wrestling memes? We love memes. I think we talk most of the time with memes anyways these days. So
yeah, see these cool, awesome QR codes that I got off the internet, screenshot and stole because I wasn't giving nobody my email information just to get a clump of squares. So I'm proud of copy and pasting and stealing it from the internet. Yeah,
there you go.
Because yeah, you don't need my email address to give me a whole bunch of blocks and shapes. Okay?
Lots of blocks, lots of shapes.
Stay out of my Kool-Aid, internet.
Oh man, but so moving on, we'll let's go with the street fight. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So before we go into that, what was interesting was during the pay-per-view, they had talked about when they were showing the graphic for this match, they referred to it as a double main event. And I'm sitting here like that must be the Endeavor talking because they love talking about being when there's two top matches and they refer to it as double main event. And I thought it was funny since it wasn't the second to last match, because the last match was Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, and then it was the Bloodline, and then Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Matt Riddle, and then this was the match. So I'm like, why do And I know some people were upset that this should have been the main event. This should have been the main event. Whatever. It still was a very entertaining match. It probably could have been. They advertised it the hell out of it, but of course they're going to. Bad Bunny's a huge recording artist that loves wrestling. So,
right.
But as with the match, actually another quick thing with Bad Bunny that happened on SmackDown before is obviously you saw when he came out, he had a nice jacket on. Do you see that, Sauce? During SmackDown, he had a nice jacket on. Yeah, so this guy brings out a jacket that has the old scratch WWF logo on it. And it was clear as day. It wasn't something small. So every replay of it that they would replay for the whole bit had to be digitally altered out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would love to see them try to argue with him about it. He's like, what are you going to do? Fire me? And
all those, and it's even better? It's all those people who got it on DVR are going to re-upload it.
Yo.
That might be me.
But so anyways, I thought that was cool. Now, going into this match, obviously they had a cool little promo before with Rey Mysterio with a really sick black mask. It was. Do you see that mask he had on? It was like and he didn't even like have that mask when he came out later, which I thought was weird. I'm like,
he switches. It was like a blue mask, I think, powder blue mask.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the cool part. The cool part was he introduces Savio Vega, comes in the back, and it was like, and he gives him a kendo stick with like the Puerto Rican flag, and I'm like, Savio Vega, baby, let's go,
And got him with the twist and the kick. He was like, hey, yeah.
Oh my god,
like, let's go.
Oh Lord. So this happened earlier before the match. So then, of course, match happens. You already know that Damian Priest and Bad Bunny have a good history. They they wrestled together at WrestleMania, And now you have this match where roles are kind of reversed in a sense for Damian. But I'll tell you, this match made me believe more in Damian Priest than I ever have, since he's been on the main roster. Like, I wasn't a fan of him when he was a face. I did not think he was terrible on the mic. I think he's okay on the mic. He's okay. He's not the best. He's not really great. He's just pretty good.
He's good enough.
That's actually the best way. There you go. He's good enough on the mic, but you got to kind of be better. You got to, especially with how much talent you have. There's so much talent to work with, and I think in this match he did a very good job in this match, making Bad Bunny look good, but also selling everything. You got a non-wrestler against a massive wrestler, big guy wrestler, and they did a really good job. There was a San Juan street fight, so obviously you knew there's going to be weapons, there's going to be interference from both sides of the table, Judgment Day and LWO. And it was just fun. You had some great moves. Bad Bunny pulls off a Michinoku driver. Like, he pulls off, I'm like, what? I think he did like two. He did like one Falcon Arrow-esque move. Then he did the Michinoku driver. Then he's doing a basic cross-body block onto the outside. It was crazy. They did a really good job of him chopping down Damian Priest, right? So where he had to bunny hop around the ring, when he started popping on one leg, I'm like, oh, he's bunny hopping.
Yeah.
So, he sold that, and he actually was still selling that injury yesterday on Raw. Damian Priest, he was still selling the knee injury, which I'm like, hey, gotta keep it alive. Gotta keep it sore. I tell you right now, he's definitely sore from the match. Bad Bunny with chair shots, kendo stick shots, all that kind of stuff. But of course, then when the people started showing up, like, we got people coming out, Judgment Day, and then LWO comes out, and we're like, okay, well, LWO. And then we hear one of the biggest shocks. And the music hit, and I'm like, wait, who is that? And it's friggin' Carlito. Carlito Caribbean Cool. It came back, and he looked good, man. He looked friggin' good. He looked in good shape.
Yeah.
And he came in that ring. I was like, what? The apple spot was perfect. I mean, come on. It was, oh my gosh. I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I was more shocked than sitting here going, is he really back? Oh my gosh. Then Savio Vega came back out, did his moves, like chops, and then he did his kick. And I sat there, and all I could think about was, he is going to be so sore. He's going to be like, oh my God, my back is gone. It hurt. I gotta go. It was really cool though, and I will say one thing. When Savio Vega was standing there, and there was this kind of lull where it seemed like somebody else was going to come out, not just the rest of LWO. And then the fans started chanting Chavo very loudly. Chavo, Chavo. Unfortunately, if you've been reading anything in the news about Chavo, that was definitely not going to happen.
No.
Chavo apparently has a bit of news right here to anybody, by the way. This is the first time in decades that this has ever been mentioned, that he has a problem with everything going on with talking about with Eddie Guerrero and all this stuff here, apparently. So I knew he wasn't going to come out, but I was like, oh, come on, But yeah, it was pretty, it was pretty cool. I thought the match was interesting. Like, what were your thoughts, man? Just going, because remember, months ago we had an episode of the Celebrity Squared Circle, and Sauce actually says that Bad Bunny was like your favorite celebrity, I believe, when we talked. So.
Well, so before we get started, before I give my thoughts.
Oh, yes.
Charlotte Papa Mafia, he says, only issue with pay-per-view is there wasn't anything that was shocking. For me, it was about as good as Monday or Friday night show would be. Very vanilla for me. I respect that. And I think that's one of the things about these type of pay-per-views. Even though they put it on a bigger stage than what it normally, is. Yeah, as far as Backlash, it's always felt, it's always kind of been like a filler pay per view, in between like big stories. When it normally would just be, like I said last week, it's kind of you'd be like the Marvel what if scenarios, like what if things happen differently at WrestleMania. But like I said, as far as you know, filler pay per view, so which I can understand.
Absolutely. And I do
And
have.
then
Oh, I
we
got
got
that.
Mr. CBM. I would have been shocked if Savio Vega was not there. And Damian Priest has improved from his Punisher and Martinez days. He doesn't get enough credit for that. Well, I think the main improvement he got from his Punisher and Martinez days was the weight loss day. He
Oh
got
yeah.
when he got in shape. That's probably the biggest. As far as so in NXT, he was okay. I just felt he was okay, and because they really, it's just to me it just seemed like they didn't really know what to do with him. And then he comes up to the main roster. I'm like, oh Lord, he about to be future endeavor. But for the most, he got a what was it? He got a U.S. title run in there and
Yes.
a little
Yep.
win and whatnot. And I just figured he was just doing the babyface thing. I guess he figured he'd make the best of it, sell a couple T-shirts, put some extra money in his pocket. But to me, it was like watching diet. It was like watching diet chocolate milk. It was just like, yeah, it's there, but I don't
You know, well,
and
yeah, especially yeah, I get what you're saying on that. I have to agree with that.
and I think and then he turns heel Judgment Day. So now at this point he's just there basically as a lackey. He's just there. And now we're finally, I guess we're starting to get to a point where maybe he might have hit that corner now. He's might have, to somebody that we might actually care about when he's on TV. Only time will tell in the next I would say this CBM, I'll give him at least a month. Maybe he might turn that corner. I might, be more in tune with him. After 30 days, if he ain't doing it for me, he just ain't doing it for me. So
I hear you on that. Yeah, I mean, you hit it nail on the head right there, especially about how dramatic weight loss and in gaining muscle and everything he was from Punishment Martinez. And another fun fact on his match he had, which we're going to go into after we go over the show, when he was doing some moves in the match he had yesterday, Corey Graves had said, "Yeah, he's doling out punishment on." I'm like, yeah, and I'm sitting here going, I see what you did. Let's go. So, but overall, and of course, the match had to have a bunny destroyer, which, I it was funny because I was like, this is gonna happen. I was like, that's not gonna happen. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course, if he's able to get it in the match, he's gonna do it again, and it was a good win for Bad Bunny. It was highly unlikely. I mean, it was so highly unlikely that he was going to lose. And that was kind of the problem with the pay-per-view, where, yeah, most matches were pretty predictable.
yeah,
They still made it entertaining overall. So, just for the entertainment factor of everything going on with it, I'm going to have to give it a. Let's see. I'm gonna have to give it a 4. I'll give it a 4 because maybe it wasn't all about the wrestling, of course. It was. I mean, you saw Bad Bunny do some Michinoku Driver. You saw him do the Bunny Destroyer. You saw him do a figure 4 leg lock. And looked good selling it. They, so I was a fan. I was a fan of pretty much watching all of that, and then Savio Vega, the returning Carlito. Obviously, it's probably a one-off, but I would love to be like, "Hey, what you doing? You in good shape? Let's go!" So,
I would say my thoughts on this match. It was, what this match reminded me of, Doc. It was like watching. I go back to Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at
Sami Zayn.
WrestleMania.
Yep.
An entertaining match involving a celebrity. And this kind of what this reminded me of because basically it was a hardcore, basically it was a hardcore match.
Yep.
And once again, shout out to Bad Bunny. Him and Logan Paul, I think, are in the same boat with me where these guys, these guys are not here just for a paycheck. They're here because they love and respect the craft, the business. So, with that being said, I definitely 4 headlocks for me, very solid. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a sucker for Canadian destroyers, even though they started to get oversaturated. But that's a rant for another day. I'll be honest with you. If Bad Bunny would have pulled out another Canadian destroyer, this might have went up to. This might almost been bad meat worthy. If Chavo Guerrero came back out, it came out. It would have been bad meat worthy. If the goat, all it was missing at that point, even though he's not Puerto Rican, if the ghost of Eddie Guerrero came out in Frog Splash, Damian Priest
Oh
on
my
the
god.
mat, this would have been like 8-man meets worthy.
Oh gosh. Oh my god.
Listen, Kenny Omega would have been able to top that.
Right.
I say in 4 Tokyo Domes. But be as it may, to me, pro wrestling is not all about headlocks and arm bars and whatnot. Sometimes it's also about entertaining. Regardless whether it's sports entertainment or pro wrestling, at the end of the day, it's still entertaining. And I know some people, they like, they want to talk about the difference. I always go back to Mr. Terry Funk. What he did in his days, when basically what they call him, the OG of hardcore. Hardcore that wasn't considered pro wrestling, just beating up people in the popcorn stand. No, that was just a good old fashioned entertaining fight. And here we are in 2023. The legacy of Terry Funk lives on in Puerto Rico. Shout out to him. But once again, anytime Bad Bunny, I'll be honest with y'all, I've heard part of the Booker T song. I have never listened to a full Bad Bunny song, but every time they play snippets, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But besides the point, never really fully listened to a Bad Bunny song, but when Bad Bunny shows up, I do pay attention. And I think that's what you're supposed to do in pro wrestling.
I'd have to agree with that for sure, man. But so moving forward, looks like we do have so we have the Bloodline match, the 6-man tag match, Bloodline, Usos and Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and for some reason Matt Riddle. Because it is a very odd, weird. He comes back the night after WrestleMania, Matt Riddle, and they just kind of like don't know what to do with him. He's like, I'm back. Okay, back from rehab, and I'm back wrestling. It's like, but what? Why? What do you do? Obviously, it's going to be a short-lived thing. It was just kind of like for this match.
Yeah.
Now, normally, in normal circumstances, I'm not a fan really of 6-man tag matches without anything on the line, especially when it's not a whole team. Like Bloodline makes sense. That's a team. Matt Riddle being thrown in with the tag champs, and they're not like, hey, we're all good friends. No, it's weird, But this ended up being very entertaining just for the fact of the whole dissension with the Usos and Solo Sikoa. It literally became like the match was pretty good, had some matches here, but it was still kind of like the standard thing that they've been doing. And then it went off the rails when the Usos accidentally hit each other, and then Solo almost losing his mind, like about to go full, full Umaga on everyone.
Or is he about to go full Umanga?
Umanga. Okay, William Regal. We know, yeah, But when, so you get the super kick, on Uso, and it's like the crowd loses their mind. They're popped because the crowd's cheering for both. They love the Usos. They love Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. They're just like, we love everything. We love all the wrestling. Let's go. But when friggin' Solo remember, they kept tagging each other like that power struggle. Like you got Roman's bodyguard, his boy, Solo, and he's like smacking, Jey Uso to get back. No, get out of there. I'm in. And then he'd smack him on the back. Like, let's go. Let's keep this going. But that moment when he was freaking out and he grabbed him, when Solo grabbed him, and it was like, You're not gonna hit me, are you? And had a great view, right? The camera had that great view of like seeing them both, and it's like, and it's funny because everyone talks about like when people watch soap operas or they watch TV shows that like drama TV shows, and they're like so sad, and then they the same breath, how can you watch wrestling? It's like it's the same thing when you see something like this. This is storytelling, and it was like it was some good shit. It really was, Eh, man, ah I don't know. What were
Or
your
I was
thoughts?
always equated to some of my peers. I was like, how did you watch Sammy versus Ronnie go? I say go at it with their toxic relationship for 3 seasons of Jersey Shore. Same
Ah,
thing, same reason.
now you got Jersey Shore in it now. Oh boy, here we go.
Hey, shout out to Snooki at WrestleMania 27.
Yep, there
That
you
that
go.
one
Yep.
move she did.
The what? Oh my god.
Shout out to Rod. Hey, shout out to Roddy for that short 5-minute story he did in TNA.
Oh my gosh, please. Oh man, actually, JWoww's guy that she's with, he's wrestled in the AW Dark at least. So
Oh,
yeah,
Jay Wow actually was in she was in Impact for a second too. Like she did like some celebrity angle thing too.
yeah, I remember it. It was not. Yeah, actually, if Chris, if you're watching, I know you want to bring up that stuff right there. TNA wrestling, the celebrity angles. Yeah, some of your favorite stuff. He loves it, Sauce. Trust me, I know.
I believe it.
But so what were your thoughts though on the match and just the storytelling and everything going on with it?
So before I go further, what rating you giving this?
Oh, match wise, so man, that's just coming back and forth a little bit on it, but I'd probably have to say
Emotions.
I'd probably have to say 3.5. Yeah, 3.5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 3.5, just because you had some good storytelling there, and the again, the Usos and Solo really sold everything, and the fact that they won. Like it wasn't just like them losing another match; like they won the match because it was a good way to win the match and not win the titles back. And
Yeah.
that's where a 6-man tag match works. They rarely book it that way, though. Any other time this would have been booked where the Usos lost to the champs, but in this case, it makes sense to not have them win because they don't win the belts. It doesn't really hurt them because they have randomly Riddle that they don't give a shit about that's in the group. So, yeah, it's more about the story progressing with Solo Sikoa and the Usos and seeing that, again, continuing dissension with the group.
So I'm all for long-term storytelling, but at this point, I mean, when this match happened, I was just like, there. I mean, the match that I think everybody cared about happened, a week prior. And before I go further, so we have Mr. Nike.
Or Mike.
Mikey, I can't because it says double click the update. I can't.
Yeah, it looks like it's Mike. Mike, Nintendo Master Mike.
Okay, Nintendo Master Mike. Shout out to you. I know you got to be pretty excited about a particular Zelda game coming out in a couple days. This also means I have a couple days to beat Breath of the Wild. So
Yes.
we'll see how we'll see how quickly I get there. But anyway, shout out to you. Looks like a first timer. So shout out to you. Hope you come back and visit us. Here and there. But appreciate you for stopping by.
Absolutely, thank you.
But back to pro wrestling.
Wrestling.
The match I was looking forward to see happen 2 weeks prior. This was just it happened. And yes, at the end, the spicy, the spiciness within the bloodline. You got baby brother who's listening to cousin Roman. Technically, it's the uncle, but whatever. But as far as you got the spiciness brewing between the brothers, and like, will he? Won't he? All this stuff going on, and then you also got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens over there wrestling too. And Matt Riddle was there for some reason. But be as it may, out the tag team match was the better match. Before this happened, and I'm just like, okay, all right, let's move forward with the bloodline. Let's go ahead, Sammy, Kevin Owens. Let's go ahead, feud with somebody else. Breathe some new life in these tag belts. Let's go ahead and get tag team wrestling going. Continuing. So that's all I got.
There you go. There you go, man. I'm with you. And just going back on the thing here, we do have CBM with I know you watched Survivor with Jenna Maraska, and Shaywa was in TNA as well. Yeah, of course, I knew that would get someone's attention. Yeah, no one should ever watch the Jenna Maraska TNA stuff. Okay, that's. Let me tell you something. All right, if you want to show someone that match or someone you don't like, and yeah, then that's what arguably not the worst match from a celebrity of all time. Yes, I said it. I meant it. I don't mean JWoww, I meant Jenna Maraska. So, but we also have another J here we have Big O. As a fellow younger brother, I'm with Solo all the way. So,
hey.
There you go. Okay, see, there you go. Yeah, I also am the younger brother, of my two brothers. So I maybe I see what he's talking about. All right. So what did you give it for a rating here for you, Sauce? I see you have 3.
Yeah, just 3.
Okay, that makes sense because that, like I said, hell, the half to me was more so. The half was a solo spike, so it's 3 headlocks and a solo spike. That was basically how I'll give that half score. And yeah, so we'll see what happens continuing on with this feud because remember now Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are on Raw. Bloodline is all on SmackDown. So unless these belts are getting separated or they're not, we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly.
All right. So now we move on. Oh, yes.
Real quick, CBM, I know you're watching. One day, listen, I want to get you on this podcast.
Yes.
I want you to listen. I want you to gather all the strength and courage that you have. And hell, we can even make it like a round table somehow in Dr. Love's room or on my couch. We need you. Michigan needs you. Pro wrestling needs you on this podcast, CBM, okay?
Yes.
Somehow, someway in 2023.
Yes. And it will happen. It will happen for sure.
Yes. I want you to gather all your strength and all your courage and give us a Tuesday where you can be able to bless the internet and wrestling with your presence, to drop knowledge, to drop truth, to drop love, to drop foundation on just one of these Tuesdays on this podcast. That's all I got.
Absolutely, man. Oh, man. Oh, he will. Don't worry. So we do have the main event, which so well, let's talk about the first thing first. Can you go back over to our predictions?
Oh, yeah.
Real quick.
Okay. I got you right here.
So based off of this, I ended up being closest. The match was about 9 minutes and 44 seconds.
I don't know why I said 16 minutes. That was
you went high. You went way high. So I don't know, man.
Whatever. But the day of, I think I went 6.5 minutes.
You did. You cut that right off. So that's all I wanted to see. That you can go back to the other one now.
Okay.
So this match obviously kind of like was just formed right after WrestleMania. Give Brock Lesnar something to kind of do with it, and they did kind of book it properly. They definitely started off the match exactly the same way as Seth Rollins versus Lesnar at WrestleMania, the opening night of WrestleMania, opening match of WrestleMania, actually, for the Universal title. Rollins before the bell, beating up Lesnar, weakening him, breaking, chopping him down. That was the best thing to do. that made sense for the storyline. It really did, and it was something else too watching it, because even after that, they were beating the hell out of each other, and of course Lesnar bleeds the hard way again, and it busted his forehead up. I mean, like right on his eye too. It wasn't even like on the top of his forehead, and he was gushing blood. He's just sitting there gushing blood, and I was like, okay, all right, here we go. But again, we had a lot of predictions of what might have happened with the match, but I did not predict that it would end in a non-finishing move at all. I did not see clean, no interference, nothing. That was a surprise for sure. And he was able to, basically everyone got their moves off they needed to do. He was waiting, beating them up, but in the end, Cody Rhodes steals the victory from Lesnar. Now, with that, I'm going to kind of do a continuation here real briefly, but this match, kind of the way it was portrayed, was almost like, okay, this is kind of a one-off. No, it's not. So Lesnar basically is, came out yesterday, interfered with Cody Rhodes and beat him up. So now this match is most likely happening rematch at the Night of Champions show in Jeddah.
I think it is. Yeah, I think they like semi-announced it. They said what type of match you think it will be.
Oh, it's got to have a stipulation. It's got to have some kind of no disqualification, or it's going to be a cage match or something, because you know what, they could have it's the show over in Jeddah. It wouldn't surprise me if they made it a cage match, or something. I don't know. I just had to bring that up because the match itself was okay. It's a Lesnar match. It's going to be short. It was under 10 minutes long. There really wasn't much stakes to it, because even if Cody lost, they're still going to keep pushing Cody, right? So to me, there wasn't much else about the match that shocked me, and that's why if I honestly, for the match itself, I would just give it like I'd still give it a 3 headlock.
You getting 3 headlocks?
I'd give it a 3 because like your description, guys did their job. It's a good way to describe it, Brock always does a good job selling too. If you ever watched him, even back in the day when he first debuted, when he was getting beat up by somebody, even if they were smaller and they were getting the upper hand, he made it look good. He was getting beat up. Like if they hit him on the knee, he took those shots. Like he was good at selling that, and he still is. So those guys definitely did their job.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks like we have another chat here before we get your opinion. It's CBM. I'm down for it, definitely. Spitting out those truth beams like never before.
So once again, CBM, I need you to gather your strength, your courage, come to Michigan on a Tuesday, and let's get this done.
On a Tuesday. That's what we got.
On a Tuesday. But that's all. But that's all I got for that. But as far as pro wrestling goes, you know what? I'm gonna throw. You know what? I'm gonna throw 3 headlocks in a Brock Lesnar, slap in your face receipt in there. Not quite 4. I feel like if it would have went a little bit, like let's say if it went over 10 minutes, could have made its way to 4. But I enjoyed the match for a couple things. One, Cody needed the win. They did the right thing and got him the win. And the way that how they finished it, where he basically snuck the pin, and he did it clean. So, and he's officially one of the only 7 men to pin him clean now. Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to the grandson of a plumber. And like you said, it was great how they booked it. Get the upper hand on Brock first, because we all know, as far as wrestling wise, he's like the juggernaut. Like once he gets going, he's almost unstoppable. So, yeah, it was. I mean, it was quick. It was a Brock Lesnar match. Didn't really have much complaints. There was blood. There was emotions going on. there was triumph, there was victory, and outside of that, that's pretty much about it. I mean, it's what you get out of a Brock match. I should say that's what you get out of a Brock Lesnar match when he wants to cooperate with who he's working with.
Yep. Yep. I'd have to agree with that for sure.
So overall, Doc, how many headlocks you getting this pay-per-view?
I'd have to say overall, I'd say 3.5 overall.
Hey, 3.5.
Yeah.
All right, I respect that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just going solid 3. That's why I said a few days ago. That's what I'm sticking with, and that's what we're doing here. So,
Right.
yeah, once again, it was a filler pay-per-view. A lot of these people that came in, did they think? And actually, shout out to Bianca Belair. A quick extra shout out because she, what I heard, she had a flight to catch. She was in Paris, taking care of some business, and had to fly all the way to Puerto Rico. With all that said, came in, did her thing, and put on as you saw with our rating, she put on a pretty good quality match, got the job done, and my hat is off to her. And
There
if I
you
had a hat near me, I would actually do that, but I don't.
go. I'm like looking around like I don't have one either. So there you go. But yeah, I got you, man. I got you. So yeah, I mean, it was a good show. It was a pretty good show, and like you said, it's a filler show. They're really pushing, obviously, towards Night of Champions for obvious reasons. And that's what we're basically going to briefly talk about here. And not only basically because they announced the tournament. Let's quote that tournament for this because it's not done as it wasn't not done as like a King of the Ring style tournament or anything like that. It was a very, very odd way of doing it, but they don't have much time. The 27th is going to come very soon, so they didn't really have much time to do it. So, with that being said, they started it yesterday on Monday Night Raw. 2 triple threat matches, and then those winners would face each other at night, and then that person will then face on SmackDown the same format. So on Raw, you had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest, and Priest still selling the leg injury. Appreciated that. They gave him a lot to work with, which was really good. They gave him a lot to making him look good, making him look like a threat. But in the end, there were some good spots here, especially when you thought like Priest was going to win, but then out of nowhere you get a frog splash from Seth Rollins, and it was great. It was a cool spot to see it. And Seth Rollins, unsurprisingly, moves on to the finals. Well, he moves on to the next match, and then you had the second triple threat match of Finn Balor, Miz, and Cody Rhodes. And again, on paper, everyone's like, we know who's going to win. And as I aforementioned with Brock Lesnar, Lesnar actually comes out. Lesnar comes out.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, just making sure. Yep. Yeah. But Lesnar comes out, interferes with Cody, and basically, to continue this storyline with him for whatever that's going to be, whether it's a no DQ match or a cage match, which I believe makes more sense, but we never know. So Finn Balor picks up the victory, and a very nice and a very pretty good match there, and that was the best part though, was then you have Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, which obviously harkens back to the finals of the Universal Title Championship, where Finn Balor wins the title only to have to relinquish it the next day because of his injury, which really sucked, but still, alas, nothing we can do about it. I will say though, it was cool seeing these guys again in the match together because these guys worked really well together. They really do. But again, unsurprisingly though, Seth Rollins wins to move on to the finals. of the tournament. So basically, how it's set up is, and it was very weird because they said these matches were happening on Raw, and then this week's SmackDown would have the other 6 people, 2 triple threat matches. The winners face each other, and then that winner will face Seth Rollins at Night of Champions. And people were very confused because of the belts on Raw. Triple H, thankfully came out when he announced that whoever wins it will be on Raw. They will move to Raw. So if AJ, Edge, Mysterio, if any of those guys win and they champion, they will move to Raw and be their champion.
Right.
So, so basically you have 2 other triple threat matches. One that, these are going to be banger matches. AJ Styles, Edge, Rey Mysterio in one triple threat match. Right there, all 3 people could win. All 3 people. I personally am going to be rooting for AJ Styles. I would really hope AJ Styles wins. That's just me. And then Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, and Sheamus. Now, what I think is going to happen with that match is this. Obviously, with the triple threat we just saw, Lashley's a little pissed off, right? He's pissed off that he didn't win this belt from Austin Theory. So something's going to happen there. Something's going to happen where they're not going to win this one match. And I think it's going to be Sheamus coming out with the victory. Now, That being said, I don't think when Sheamus wins, he's going to face AJ Styles. AJ Styles will beat Sheamus. And it'll be Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. Tell me you wouldn't pay for that right there.
Oh, all day, all month, all week, all year.
Yeah. So I'd love to see it. The problem I can already see booking wise is that they already moved the OC and over to SmackDown. So if AJ had to won it and move to Raw, that kind of puts a cramp in the style. Edge, not part of it.
See what you did there.
Aha. But Edge, not part of a group, so that would be kind of a little issue right there. Lashley could just move easily back to Raw, I'm still sticking with it, and I'd love to see AJ versus Seth Rollins for it. They can still do it, and then just Seth just wins it. You know what I mean? That's the front runner at this point, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's weird though. You call it a tournament, and it's not a tournament. It's just some triple threat matches thrown together. And I'll tell you right now, just kind of last thing about this. Where is Drew McIntyre? Right? Like I feel like it's a little odd that Drew McIntyre wasn't even considered. Damian Priest is in there. Yeah. Edge is in there. Rey Mysterio's in there, but not Drew McIntyre. A little odd. I think someone dropped the ball there on that, and we don't know obviously any kind of inner workings or anything going on there because there's been rumors rumbling that his contract's up at the beginning of 24 and he might not be renewing it. So, of course, everyone starts talking and speculating. I don't like to do that, but it does say a lot that he wasn't even considered for this tournament. So,
right.
I don't know.
Ever.
I don't know, but yeah. So that's basically it until next week. We'll definitely, once we know who's actually going to be solidified for Night of Champions for this title, we'll have a better understanding of how the preview of that's going to work. I am going to call it though now that the Brock Cody match that will happen, it will be a cage match for sure. Yeah, I think so. I just think that it makes sense to put him in a cage, not Hell in the Cell, but just a cage. It's in Jeddah. They want to be over the top. They've almost always had some kind of cage match or Hell in a Cell in Jeddah. So
right.
So we shall wait and see. But
I'm digging it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but yeah. So as we usually do, excuse me, we usually have what's called our Heat of the Week. And I know people watching it don't know what that is. Obviously, heat in wrestling terms is something that, it's not necessarily a good thing. But for our show, I like to have it where you have the Heat of the Week. It's something that's you personally thought was good, whether it was a wrestler, people, a promo, something that just caught your eye and was unique and really hit the mark. So that's what we like to do, close out every show with. To me, I just have to say my heat of the week has just got to be Puerto Rico. It's just got to be the Puerto Rico. They literally were just on fire. Whole show, start to finish. These guys, they crowded that very small arena. I believe they said there was like 19,000 people in there. And apparently it's not really made that for that many people. I mean, it was packed, and it just was cool. It was just cool seeing how hot they were for all the matches. And I know the wrestlers appreciated that too. So, yeah. But what about you, Sauce?
Well, Doc, heat of the week, definitely Seth Rollins. I mean, this man is the songbird of our generation. Basically, I think at this point he's going to, get this push that, he deserves. He's definitely been putting others over, been doing the job here and there, and as good as he's been, with every loss that he's taken, didn't hurt him at all. Because, he's so over right now. But, he's one step closer to, to the big gold 3.0. And, in fact, and did you notice how Finn Balor kind of did his own version of the buckle bomb in that main event the other night?
Yeah.
Continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's like, I haven't forgotten.
But I would say this way, it was almost Bianca. I mean, granted, she, like I said, went back and forth, did a thing and won. But I would say definitely Seth Rollins. Hopefully, he gets pushed. Hopefully he comes away with the big gold in a couple weeks. But Seth Rollins, my man, shows up. This man just, there's nothing else that needs to be said. Okay. Yeah. So
I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. But that's where we have it, man. It was a good show, good recap of everything. Obviously, the next couple weeks we do have the upcoming Night of Champions show, and we also have AEW's show, Double or Nothing. So, and we'll definitely do a good preview of that. And speaking of that, to also close this out, me and Sauce, we're actually going to AEW Dynamite / Rampage tomorrow night, because here in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena. So it's gonna be a fun show. Moxley versus Omega in a cage match on there, and then there's a street fight of Anna Jay, and Anna Jay versus Julia Hart, I believe. So FTR, we will hear from FTR. We will hear from let me hear from you. Let's go. I don't know, but. Yeah, it should be a good time. I haven't been personally to an AEW show, so we'll see how that goes. Love wrestling. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, unless you got anything else, Sauce, I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending, time with us. Oh, one last, hold on. From Big O, how do we go from rocking crowd in Puerto Rico to a virtually dead one in Florida Raw?
You aren't wrong.
Because it's Monday Night Raw. 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours 3 hours is just promos instead of.
You aren't wrong about that, Big O. They were dead. They were dead for some big spots, and it was very weird. It was very weird. So
yeah. But on that note, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. Listen to two good boys from Michigan talk about wrestling. And once again, we got the socials. Blue one's Twitter, the brown one's Instagram. Stop by, say what's up. And on that note, listen, enjoy the rest of y'all week. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, but most importantly, be good.